Tashidilek, I am Tenzin Chime. Welcome to Tibet This Week, a weekly feature in English that tells you about this week's news on Tibet, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and the Central Tibetan Administration. Today's headlines. His Holiness the Dalai Lama to join Greta Thunberg in conversation on climate crisis. Ngaba monk sentenced for celebrating the birthday of His Holiness the Dalai Lama completes prison term. The United States Congress passes Tibetan Policy and Support Act of 2020. Speaker Pema Jungney condoles demise of Dr. P.G. Jyotikar. International Tukdam research team members holds meeting to strengthen collaboration. Office of Tibet, Washington, D.C. holds discussion on Jianglin's book on Tibet. His Holiness the Dalai Lama will join a conversation on the crisis of climate feedback loops with climate change activist Greta Thunberg and leading scientist on the 10th of January 2021. Live webcast of the conversation will be available in different languages on the official websites and Facebook pages of the Office of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. The Mind and Life Institute is organizing a special free live stream event. Agyagya, a monk from Tibet's Ngaba region who was jailed for celebrating the birthday of His Holiness the Dalai Lama in the year 2015, has been released after spending 5 years in Chinese jail. Sources confirmed Agyagya was released around 10th December after completing his sentence. Agyagya was among 9 others who took part in Gyatun, or celebration of the 80th birthday of His Holiness the Dalai Lama in Ngaba County, incorporated into China's Sichuan province. Following the celebration, all 10 Tibetans were arrested and detained one after another until they were all formally sentenced in 2016. The United States Senate Foreign Relations Committee unanimously passed the Tibetan Policy and Support Act of 2020 in the midnight on Monday this week. The Central Tibetan Administration welcomed this historic achievement for the Tibetan freedom movement. At the end of his 5-day visit to Washington, D.C. to push for the final passage of the bill, President Dr. Lobsang Sengye thanked the Tibetan advocacy groups, including the International Campaign for Tibet and Students for a Free Tibet, the regional Tibetan associations, and all those who have put their effort in passage of the bill.
Everybody made efforts. So all the Tibetan associations in America, including Tibetan Youth Congress and etc., all were involved in it, including ICT, called their members to support for the bill. So everybody made effort.
Sikyong also said this landmark bill is in solidarity with 6 million Tibetans who are suffering inside Tibet, and it is a major boost for the Tibetan freedom struggle.
It's a landmark bill. In the last 20 years, the US Congress is passing a major bill on Tibet.
The Speaker of the Tibetan Parliament in Exile, Pema Jungney, said the United States has proven its support for truth, justice, and humanity. The bill updates the monumental United States Tibetan Policy Act of 2002, and it would make it official United States policy that the succession of Tibetan Buddhist leaders, including the succession of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, will be left solely to Tibetan Buddhists to decide without interference from the Chinese government. Interfering Chinese officials would be subject to sanctions under Global Magnitsky Act, including denial of entry into the United States. The bill also emphasizes environmental protection of the Tibetan Plateau, which is often called the Third Pole. The bill also calls for creation of a new United States consulate in Lhasa. It reinforces a reciprocal relationship between the United States and China. China would be prevented from opening a new consulate in the United States if a Lhasa consulate is stalled. Tibetan Policy and Support Act of 2020 is a bipartisan supported bill introduced to the Congress by Chairman of the Congressional China Commission and Tom Lantos Human Rights Commission Jim McGovern and Senator Marco Rubio. The bill passed the United States House of Representatives by an overwhelming majority in January of 2020, and it has since stalled in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, largely due to the coronavirus pandemic. The Speaker of the Tibetan Parliament in Exile, Pema Jungney, offered his heartfelt condolences over the demise of Dr. P.J. Jyotikar, a staunch and an ardent supporter of Tibet, who passed away at the age of 86 last week. Dr. P.J. Jyotikar had tirelessly dedicated his time and energy to Tibetan cause for more than 4 decades. He was the pioneer of Tibetan freedom movement in the state of Gujarat. A virtual meeting was held to discuss future collaborations, create protocol steps, and proper communications regarding Tukdam, post-meditative state by Tibetan Buddhist practitioners. The meeting was led by Dr. Tsheden Sadusang of Delek Hospital with participation of 36 members of research team led by Dr. Richard Davidson, founder and chair of the Center for Healthy Minds, Professor Svyatoslav Medvedev, a full member of the Russian Academy of Science and former director of the Institute of Human Brain in St. Petersburg, Russia, Amjit Tamding of Tibetan Medical and Astro Institute Dharamsala, and supervisors, monk researchers, and Tibetan doctors from South India. In 2018, Professor Svyatoslav initiated the research project and provided training to young scientist monks from 7 monasteries in South India and set up research labs in Tashilumpo and Debungkomang Monastery. In the late year 2019, Dr. Richard Davidson and Professor Svyatoslav held a meeting in Goa, India, and shared their experiences and challenges and agreed to collaborate on the research project. The Office of Tibet, Washington, D.C. hosted a virtual talk and question and answer session on the book Tibetan Agony, Lhasa 1959, last Saturday. Representative Ngodrup Tsering gave a short remark on the book and expressed his appreciation to the author and the translator for accepting the invitation. The book, written by Jianglin and translated in English by Susan Wilf, was published by Harvard University Press. It is also translated in Tibetan by Chamba Dinzi and published by the Library of Tibetan Works and Archives. That is all for this week. See you in the next episode of Tibet This Week. Thank you for watching Tibettv.